Welcome to the Devout-ish podcast, where we have honest conversations about messy faith. I'm your host, Phoenicia. If you've ever questioned God, struggled with church culture, or felt like you're somewhere in between, this podcast is for you. No cliches, no pressure to be perfect, just real talk about faith, doubt, and everything in between. Now, let's get into this week's episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devout-ish. I am your host, Phoenicia, and this is the podcast where we have honest conversations about messy faith. And this week, we will be, I guess, maybe this is like a part 2 to a different episode that I did earlier, but we'll basically be diving into the question of why do we as a people dehumanize Christianity so much? So with that, it's kind of getting to a point where I feel like we are treating it as something that we are supposed to perform rather than live. And this episode might make a couple of people uncomfortable, but I hope it frees you as well. So let's get into it. All right. So let's get into it. What does it mean to dehumanize Christianity? So I made some notes on this, okay? So basically, when I say that we as a people are dehumanizing Christianity, I mean this. Basically, we are taking the mess, the nuance, the emotions, and the struggle, basically everything that makes us human, and we are scrubbing it away, throwing it under the rug, scratching it out, and removing it completely from our faith journey. And basically, we are treating this nuance of being a good Christian as the ultimate goal of all the things. And we show up all the time, we say the right things, and we never feel anything. We don't doubt, and we don't question, and we don't mess up, which is insane to me. And basically, we are prioritizing rules of a relationship. We care more about image than interchange. We speak truth without zero compassion, which is also insane to me, as if you don't fuck up all the time too. We use faith as a filter instead of a foundation, and we treat people like projects instead of people. Now, when Christianity gets reduced to performance, I feel like people always have all the right language to say. You have all the right posts on your Instagram page, on your stories, on your Facebook, on your TikTok. You have all the right scriptures, and all the right hearts are still hardened. Still hardened. Not coming from a place of true surrender or no reverence whatsoever. And there is just no love nowhere to be found. Period. You just showing up. It's nothing behind it. So you're empty, ultimately. And here's the truth here with this. God does not save machines. Truth of the matter is, if there is no sustenance, if there is no fruit coming from that, there is absolutely no life coming from that thing. God is not saving that. Excuse me. He's not saving that at all. Because that's literally a vine that's literally a branch that is severed from the vine at all. Like that's just, it's not what it is. It ain't giving life at all. And basically he's in the business of saving people. Okay. He chooses the flesh, he chooses the emotion, and he chooses the process. So with all of that, you are talking about a person who has wept. You're talking about a person who got tired, a person who needed space, a person who was betrayed. Jesus was fully God and fully human. So why do we think that we have to erase our humanity in order to follow him? And I'm going to go ahead and keep it a buck with you. I've done this plenty of times, not because I didn't love God, but because I had learned a version of faith that was more concerned with looking saved rather than actually living whole. All right. So let's talk about how we got here, child. Okay. So, first things first, the good old church culture. Okay. So, some of us, or me in particular, were raised in religious environments where emotions equaled weakness and the doubts were sinful. Child, how dare you doubt God? How dare you question him, right? Rest equals laziness. So basically, in this, we learned to perform because all of these things was just so forbidden in the house of God. Nobody ever did it. For God forbid you say that, you know what, I really do not feel like ministering, or my body is just completely just withered and tired right now. Let me take a sabbatical for a little bit. Let me just take some rest. Are you lazy? God ain't never took no breaks. You don't take breaks in ministry. People in ministry don't give breaks. What? So you expect for me to serve from an empty cup is what you're saying. Are you going to refill it? No? Okay. So basically in any time where you are expected to show up as your full self in church, you are smiling while you're hurting, you quoting scripture when your world is crumbling. Like, it's just all the things like, Jesus, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. I love you, Jesus. I'm going through it right now. Lord, please save me. And I just don't understand how people can just legit sit here and act like your world is not crumbling. I get it. You don't look like what you've been through. We love using that line, child. Love it. And I understand it. But sometimes I just want to fall apart without people telling me it's going to be, God got you. He going to put you back together again. It's going to all work out. Can I please just cry without you spitting in my face for 2 minutes? Can I be me without you throwing a Bible verse in my face? Can I just be? Can I just go for a walk without you reminding me every single second about the clouds in the sky, the sun in the sky, the birds chirping in the trees? Please, just let me be, okay? And even though we know that God is good, God is great and greatly to be praised. But even in all this, you can still feel abandoned. You can still feel abandoned and all of that. And after this showing up with empty cups, child, showing up expected to just fly and glide through all the things, that is the spirit of perfectionism. Baby, y'all love to use that word spirit, don't y'all, right? So the spirit of perfectionism, okay, we turn faith into this endless pursuit of flawlessness. We obsess over appearances, filters, performances, but Jesus was never impressed with none of it. That's how you know people is people, right? Never impressed with performance. He don't give a damn about none of that. He called out, well, this is in my notes, okay? In my notes, okay? It says Jesus called out the Pharisees not for being too worldly, but for being too polished. Okay. This is Matthew chapter 15, verses 8 through 9. All right, go and read this. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. So put that in your spirit, put it in your shanana, okay? God called out the Pharisees not for being too worldly, but for being too polished. How can the man who people expect for folks to show up so perfect for, so polished for, so prim, so just all put together, and he's telling you, you're doing too much? When are you going to show me the real you? When are you going to stop faking? When are you going to stop putting on a show and a persona for these people and give me you? I just want you. I don't need all the extra. I don't need you to show up as anybody else but you. Huh? Okay. So last thing, the fear of judgment. So that is the third and final root of the humanized faith, right? So the fear of judgment. So let's be real about this, okay? Church hurt is a real thing, okay? By any means am I like putting that by the wayside and talking down on that as if it's something that you could just get over, when in reality you cannot. Church hurt is a real thing, y'all. I am here to tell you as somebody who has gone through it. But to me, I feel like church hurt is only church hurt when you allow it to be, if that makes sense. Put a pin in that, right? So people will definitely disown you for just simply having a bad day. The church folk will make you feel horrible for coming in and saying, Lord, who child, today just drained me. Well, God gave you the all I said was, I just had a bad day today. And here you go. Well, he woke you up this morning, didn't he? Yeah, he did. But he also gave me emotions to feel. Am I supposed to not feel those emotions? Please, Geraldine, get out of my face. Okay? So, let me see. People will disown you for having a bad day, child of public failure. Ooh, let's not get into that, all right? Or even a question, child. How dare you question God? How dare you ask him, why is the sky blue? And why is the grass green? Why do the birds sing in the morning? Why do chickens crow in the morning? All the things. Why do pastors cheat on their wives? Why do ushers have attitudes? Why do deacons have to do devotion for 30 minutes to 40 minutes every single Sunday morning? Why you gotta scream at me? Why do altar call gotta be 1 hour? Why do church gotta be 3 hours? Why do the same lady who can't cook gotta make the dinners for church every Sunday? How dare me question all these things? Let me stop being petty. But no, for real. So we truly start to believe in all these things, that it is safer to be fake than to be honest. And slowly within all of this, we start to lose our voice, our softness, and our soul. So if we don't give people the space, excuse me, to be their true authentic selves and to ask these questions, then when are we truly going to start acting like the church? The church is a space for people to heal. You have people walking in the door every single Sunday or every single day of the week. I'm sorry, every single day of the week, rather, regardless of what you have to do during the week for church. You're showing up sometimes hurt. Sometimes you need a pick me up. Sometimes you need for somebody to be that shoulder for you to lean on without throwing, like I said earlier, Bible verses and all this other stuff at you. You just need a place to vent. And sometimes you can't find that outside of the church. Sometimes the people only have the church to turn to. But when you come at them with all this stuff, like they can't question God. You can't say this. Why you feel like that? Oh, well, you need to stop talking like that. Where else am I supposed to talk? Where else am I supposed to show up and just be without the judgment? The church is full of sick people, right? Are you not sick? Are you not going through the daily ins and outs of life? You may not be at your last dime right now. You may not be at the end of your rope, but who says the next person sitting next to you isn't? So how are you going to respond to that? Right? Okay. All right. So now that we have talked about the roots of dehumanizing Christianity, let's talk about the impact of that, right? So what happens when we dehumanize our faith? We burn out, we isolate ourselves. We believe we're the only ones who are struggling when we're not. We start hiding from God, not just people. And worst of all, we start resenting Christianity altogether, which ultimately leads to the deconstruction of Christianity. And with that, yeah, I can tell y'all how many times I have heard stories about people completely leaving the faith altogether and deconstructing because of something that somebody said to them or did to them that made them feel a way, that made them feel that they were not welcome, That is so heartbreaking, to think of the people who are going through these things simply because they thought that the church was a safe place when in fact it was not. That hurts. That hurts so bad. And I mean, truth be told, because of these things, a lot of us or some of us have walked away from the church because of that very thing. And remember, the church is simply people. It's not the building. It's the people who are making these decisions or these statements or these environments feel the way that they feel to some people. It's not the building, it's the people. And the fact that people didn't walk away from the church because they hated God, it's simply because they never got the chance to truly be human with him. Because I'm going to go ahead and say it. We got too many gatekeepers in the church. Too many folks want to be gatekeepers. And I'm just like, who are you to truly get in the way of somebody building a relationship with God? Let them ask that question. Not everybody is such a Bible scholar. You wasn't a Bible scholar when you first started out. So why do you feel like you deserve to make anybody else feel less than just because they can't quote a certain verse in the Bible or show up to church looking a certain kind of way? Help them. Stop talking about people. Stop making people feel less than. Once again, literally the church, child, people just, I hate to say it, but sometimes the church will literally make you hate people in general. The church is the most judgmental place on this earth. The most judgmental. Christians are the most judgmental people on this earth. I believe Christianity is the religion that has the most gatekeepers. Truly. We love to put people through tests to see if they are truly worthy of being a Christian. And I hate that. I get it. The word is sacred. How you say it, how you teach it, how you preach it, how you give it to folks, it does matter. But simply icing somebody out because of something that they said or a question that they may have just to get clarity on something, and that rubbed you the wrong way enough to tell them you don't belong here. Did you even take time to listen to the question? Did you take time to actually give them a chance to explain where they're coming from? Did you? You didn't? Shame on you, right? Okay. So with that, basically being in the church or being a part of this group of people, right? We are always praised when we are quiet and polished. I said this in a different episode. We are always praised when we are quiet and polished, but shunned and outcast when we are honest and broken. That's crazy. So insane. So now we're going to get into, let's get into Jesus, right? That's why we're all here. So basically, this man did not run from people's humanity. He stepped into it, okay? Knee deep in the cream of weeds. This man was in it, right? So he did not run from anything, okay? First example, he sat with the woman at the well. He didn't look over her. He didn't step away from her. He wasn't on the other side of the well from her. He sat next to her, with this person, okay? He didn't shun her for anything. The verse of reference for that is John 4, okay? The next example, he let Thomas question his resurrection, okay? Great example of that. Great example of God simply allowing you to question why things happened the way that they did. And his answer is always going to be you know, dang, I didn't really. Okay, God, I see what you did there. Oh, okay, I get it. All right, but still, why did you let these people hang you on the cross, Jesus? That would be me. And the verse for that is John 20. So the very last thing, he cried when Lazarus died, even though he knew that he would raise this man from the dead. Now, who does that? How you gonna cry? That's like Nah, let me not use that reference. Let me not go there. Let me not go there. Let me not do it. But like how do you cry over somebody and you know within the next couple of minutes or so you're gonna raise this person from the dead? How is that not being knee deep in something with somebody? How is that not being right there in the midst of all the things? And the verse for that is John 11. So basically, in all this tells me that God truly did not run away from mess. This man was right there in the midst of all of it. He was not scared of anything. He felt all the things and he still did what he had to do. Nailed to the cross, but you still came down to let everyone know that you still live, that you did all of this, that you had to do these things for our sins. You still raised this man from the dead, even though you wept over his body. Like, who does that? Who does those things? And y'all have the nerve to sit up here and try to take humanity out of Christianity? And this man is truly showing us that he had all the feelings, if not more. And it proves to you that this man still had emotions, but he was still able to do his job. He was still able to show up as God. Regardless of what the situation was, he was still there. But that don't mean that he suppressed his emotions in that moment. He sat, he listened, he cried, he wept. He still answered the insane questions, as the people would say, which wasn't insane to him because he welcomed those questions. God welcomes curiosity. If you don't welcome curiosity, how are you going to get better? How are you going to get the knowledge that you need? Please. So, if the Jesus that we follow can handle grief, doubt, pain, failure, then why do we pretend those things disqualify us from being close to him? And if Jesus made space for people to be real, then our faith should make space for that too. So who says that, once again, this journey has to be a one size fits all? One person here may not be showing their emotions at all, but that don't mean that they're going to get into heaven quicker than you. No, not at all. Why do you feel like you have to show up as anything else but you in order to build the relationship that you need to have with God? All he is asking for is you. That's it. Baby, God can hear your prayers through a simple tear. One tear, a few tears, and he understands those tears. You don't need to say not one word. And you got the nerve to let somebody tell you, oh, you don't need to be crying. Why are you crying right now? God can't hear you through all of that. Excuse me? That's why you need to know the word for yourself too. That's extremely important. That's what I'm learning for myself. Because people will definitely try to sabotage and act like they know what's best for you, when in reality, they don't. Because you know your word. You know what the word says about emotions, about trusting God, and all of those things. But also, the people will definitely use the word as a weapon to try to keep you small and keep you where you are, keep you dumbfounded, like you don't know anything. Excuse me. Just so you can run back to them for every little thing, like you can't stand on your own, like you don't know God for yourself. People are insane, right? Right. So with this, let's go into our last and final part, right? So here we are going to talk about a few steps to step back into allowing the human side of you to be shown in and through your faith, right? So the first thing is you have to give yourself permission to feel. Once again, those emotions. How can you truly build this relationship with God if you do not give yourself the permission to feel those emotions? How can he truly heal you from things that trigger you if you do not feel those emotions? Give yourself permission to feel those things, right? Second thing, God is the homie. God is the homie. Okay. Y'all be sitting up here with these diabolical and super poised prayers and things like that. I get it. We definitely have to revere God. I get that. But when you having these conversations, I'm not saying you got to cuss, okay? You ain't got to cuss out, Jesus and all the things. But when you having a conversation, show up as you. Lord, help me, please. Stop me from slapping her. I need help. These church folk is getting on my nerves, okay? How they say it, they playing on my top. That's what they be saying. All those things. Child, God ain't gonna run away from nothing that you have to say to him, okay? So definitely don't be afraid to talk to God as if he is your friend, because he is. That's your first and true friend. It's God. So now he may not talk back to you all the time, okay? Now that can get a little nerve-wracking, but he'll send somebody. Now he will send a message and confirmation through a person, okay? A person, place, or thing. Now don't discount that. But just know that God is always listening. That is your friend, that is your homie. God knows. So remember that. Also, community. Try to always surround yourself with people who never expect you to be perfect. Child, because what is the fun in being around folks who never truly express themselves or be themselves? I ain't got time for fake friends. Fake friends ain't gonna get me to heaven. Fake friends ain't gonna get me my salvation at all. I'm not paying tithes to be surrounded by fake people. Please miss me with that, okay? Next thing, let go of the pressure to perform. So please know that on this journey, you are not a project. You are still a person, okay? Don't allow anybody to treat you as such. You are a person. You are not a project, okay? And you are not a brand. You're not a brand. You're not a platform. Well, can you be a brand? Well, I guess how you represent yourself does matter. How you present yourself does matter. But just know that you can't be using God as clickbait. Now that's the thing. Don't be using God as clickbait if you truly ain't for him. He's not to be used as a platform at all. So if you are truly not living what you are speaking, cut it out. Please. Please stop. If you're not living this stuff out in your daily life, please stop. You don't have to plaster all the things all over your social media. You ain't got to do all that. I understand that for sure. But still, when people see you, the things that you do in private, when I say like the prayers, all the other little stuff, now granted, all that stuff don't have to be public. I get it. But when people see you, they should see a light in you. You should be the brightest thing in the room without having to say a word. This could be your worst day, and people still see the light in you. Now, that's not a performance. That's being real. That's stepping into who God called you to be. Right? So, and in that, God truly wants the whole you. He does. He don't want half of you. He don't want part of you. He don't want the top situation of you. He don't want the finger. He don't want the toe. He want everything. He want that heart. He want all of it. He don't want half of you. He want all of you. That's why you have to be willing to surrender to him, not to people, but to God. What does God say about me? What does God say about the situation? Take all your things to him first before you take it to people, because people will steer you wrong. Surely will. And the last thing is, let's relearn our relationship with God and unlearn this thing we call religion. That's the first thing that could definitely help you to get your relationship back on track with God. Unlearning religion. Unlearning religion. This relationship with God is the heartbeat of this entire podcast, the reason why I wanted to put this podcast together, because I wanted to give myself a safe space to talk through these things as I learn them. These topics that I come up with every single week are not just topics that come out of thin air. These are real life things that I am currently going through and walking through as I talk to you about them. Child, I may have a good old script with notes on this iPad, but best believe all this stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that I go through daily, stuff that I think about daily. God, how can I unlearn religion without cutting off my relationship with you? How can I truly be a Christian if some of the things that I read in the Bible I don't agree with? How can I show up to this platform and tell these people about these things when sometimes I don't even feel like showing up? I don't even think I'm a Christian myself. Sometimes I want to truly walk away from all this shit. I'm in a place between faith and fuck it. Like I don't do these things just to do them for a platform. I don't. I don't care about none of this. I really don't. I couldn't care if not one person shared this episode, because I'm not truly doing it for the likes or to be liked. I'm doing it because this is a place where I really am with my relationship with God every single day, fighting for my life. Cause child, I don't have any hair, but baby, pulling my hair out all the time. Just because I feel like I stress over this relationship with him so much because I am listening to the outside voices trying to tell me how my relationship should be. When in reality, like I said, every single person who believes in God, their relationship is not the same. It is not a one size fit all type of situation. That's why I cannot stand Christian bullies. I cannot stand it. What good are you doing in going out and making disciples if you are bullying people to do certain things, or talking about certain people because they show certain emotions and they have certain questions about certain things? Child, on this podcast, once we get to the point where we start having guests and all the things like that, I'm going to be asking the questions and it's going to get real uncomfortable. All the things. Because I want to know. Because I'm curious. Hell, I can't ask the questions in the church, so where am I going to ask them? Right? Okay. So basically, with that, y'all, wherever you are in your journey on this thing called faith, you are always allowed to start again. You are always allowed to start over. You are always allowed to ask those questions. You are allowed to be messy. This relationship ain't nothing close to pretty. It's not. That girl you see, that man you see every Sunday showing up like they have it all together, best believe when they home and they going through something, baby, that face look toe up, crying, ugly cry all the time. Maybe not all the time, but sometimes. They don't always show up like that in private. So just know that every relationship is not going to look the same. Your relationship is your relationship. If you fall off, it's okay. Get back up. Try it again. Try something different. Try something new. Try a different way. Right? So you got to give yourself grace in that. And you have to know that it's not going to be pretty. It's going to get messy sometimes, but that is perfectly fine. All right? So I'll end with this. If your faith does not make room for your humanity, it is not faith in Jesus. Do not let culture, church, or even your own fears talk you out of being real with God. He made you human on purpose. He calls you by name, not by your performance. You do not have to do faith perfectly. You just have to show up. So, with that said, I hope this episode resonated with somebody. If it did, like, comment, share it with somebody who you feel needs to hear this message. Follow me on all platforms: IG, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. And until next time, y'all seeking peace.